it's always a good idea to start with the skill called the soft startup, which is really simple. It's basically just, hey, Mohammed, I've got something important to talk to you about. Is now a good time? And so you can start like that with your spouse or your girlfriend, and just you're kind of asking permission and giving them notice. Hey, I've got something important to talk to you about. I need your full attention for this.
Okay.
And they're free to say yes or no. If they say no, okay, then when's a good time to talk? Because all too often what we do is we just spew our emotions onto our partner because we can't contain them anymore. Like the first time we see them again after a long day at work, we're just like, bleh. That's not a very effective way to get into a difficult conversation, because the research shows that as the conversation begins, most often so shall it end. So if it starts in anger, if it starts in accusation, if it starts in vitriol, difficulty, discomfort, it's going to end that way. And the findings for this are very strong. So you want to start it out gently, calmly, as a conversation, not immediately as an accusation and an argument. And then you want to bring it up in terms of I statements. So trying to think of what an example could be, because I get what you're saying about a values-based issue, like a serious issue. Well, let's say overspending, right? Like, let's say your wife overspent on something when beyond budget, let's say. And you could say, hey, sweetheart, it makes me really nervous. And I get scared actually when you spend beyond what we agreed upon for our budget. And I'd really like to talk about ways that we can change this behavior so it doesn't happen again. Or if it does happen again, at least you come to me and we can talk about what the purchase is, so we can agree that this is a worthwhile purchase, even if it is out of budget.
Okay.
That's different from making an accusation and getting angry and calling her names and saying she never listens, or whatever the typical fight is.
Yeah.
Because we gotta, it's enlightened self-interest, right? It's how can I give my partner the best chance to respond and think about this in a way that gets me what I want, that benefits our relationship.
Okay, an example. Your partner has a condition, a cognitive, a mental condition, OCD, and they do things that are hard on you, right? The other partner can be a man, can be a woman, right? Husband or wife.
Yes.
How do you, because it's not in their control, they have OCD, right? How do you deal with that?
That's a great question. I mean, it could be ADHD, it could be OCD. And I think one of the ways is to practice depersonalization. So what is depersonalization? It's coming up with interpretations for another person's behavior that have nothing to do with you. So the easiest example I can give is, let's say you're in a new city and you hail a taxi, and you get in the taxi and the taxi cab driver's noticeably upset.
Okay.
He's annoyed, he's irritated, and you're thinking, what did I do to this fool to piss him off? Right? That's our first thought generally is, what did I do? Why is he doing this to me? We take it personally. So you're not going to stop that, but what you want to do is recover as quickly as you can and play the game of what other interpretations can I come up with to explain his behavior that aren't about me? So for example, he got a flat tire today at work. He's worried about Uber cutting in on his competition or his business. Got in an argument with his wife, has a teenage son that's on drugs, worried about finances, right? There's all these other possible explanations for his behavior that have nothing to do with you. And you can do the same thing with your spouse with the OCD. Like, oh, this is just her. This is just how she thinks. This isn't about me. This has nothing to do with me. The other thing I think that's helpful, and it takes some safety in the relationship, but I think humor and gentle teasing can help to diffuse that irritation that builds. And that's something that me and my partner do quite a bit. And we've had to make it explicit. Like we've talked about giving each other permission to tease one another.
Okay.
And then we kind of work on it, we practice it. And then I think there's always going to be times when you go too far with that, or it happens, right? And so if that's the case, you've got to be willing and able to speak up and say, hey, honey, when you said this about, I don't know, about me being late, that was a little bit too far, like it hurt my feelings a little bit. And to let them know that I'm okay with this, but I'm not okay with that.
Okay.
So those are two ideas that come to mind.
Okay. So just to be clear, we don't necessarily expect them to change their behavior like instantly or at all, right? So
well, the behavioral change question is a really good one in the sense of if it's OCD, I'm not expecting that to change a whole lot.
Okay.
Maybe really slight improvements, but that's going to be a more ingrained way of thinking. And if ideally they're going to therapy and working on it, and that would be great, because I think their effort is helpful to me to know that they're working on that issue. But behavioral change in general, and we see this a lot in the couples counseling that we do, is like a lot of times one spouse will have this expectation that their partner should change out of annoying or negative behavior like that, like just 180 degrees overnight. But that's not really how behavior change works in humans. I would say it's more like the profile of a jagged mountainside, where, you make some improvement and then you backslide a little bit, and then you make more improvement and then you drop back a little bit. That's more typical. And so I think about change with humans as I'm looking for like 1% change or improvement, ideally every day, but every day might be a little bit fast. But it's like changing the course for an oil tanker out at sea, right? It takes a while and it's slow, but if you change an oil tanker's trajectory 2%, over time, the destination that it arrives at is going to be dramatically different over 6 months or a year. And so I think, to give our partners grace when they are trying to change behavior, particularly if they're doing it for us in the relationship, to know that there's going to be backslides and regressions because we're dealing with emotions generally. And then, give them that grace and that compassion, because again, it's enlightened self-interest. What do you want them to do? You want them to change the behavior. If you jump on them at their first backslide, is that motivating them to keep going? No. So, you want to encourage them, catch them being good, catch them making the changes you want to make, you want made, and then, have grace and forgiveness when they fall short.
Yeah. And this would take us back to self-awareness as well, and building your personal traits. Like, for example, you'd have to be a lot patient to deal with the personal life, right? So so we'd have to train ourselves for that as well. So thank you for this, because I've met over time, I've met a lot of and younger like people in their early 20s and late teens. They have a fairy tale mind where they want to build a relationship, and ideally I would say it's a great way of thinking that they want their first relationship to be the last, and they want to learn these things. So as you said, maturity, you don't get that maturity at that stage, but if somebody can, we should help them, right? So these conversations actually help those people as well. So thank you for this.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the beautiful things about the age that we live in, right? If you're young and you want to learn these skills, you can pull up a podcast and begin to learn this stuff. And it's free. And but so there is no excuse these days. You have everything, very quality education available, and what I like about these setups is experience. It's not just literature. It's 30 years of experience as well that we're getting in this, and very grateful for this. Again, thank you so much. Really, you're most welcome.
This. Yeah.